All right, what's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? Another evening, another daily candle close in just over 45 minutes. Oh, no, just over half an hour, sorry. I was wrong. I was wrong. Looks like we are not going to close above 110,580 again today. Probably going to close right around where we are right now, unless the bears push us down further. $110,000 close is not going to be good enough to get us out of this liquidity zone that we are in. We are stuck in this range. But that's fine. That's cool. It's better than dumping, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Because at least if we were dumping, I could be buying, right? So I guess perspective is everything. This is not going to be an incredibly long stream, guys. We have our live stream over on the Patreon tonight in about an hour and a half with Maximus Crypto and Rule Black and myself. So we will be doing that shortly. So let's get into the chat a little bit here. What do we got? Big Kev dropping that cheddar. Thanks, Rob, for being the calming voice of reason, helping us not to panic sell. Everything comes in its own time, and I am thankful that you will be here when it's time to sell. Absolutely. And the funny thing is, Kev, like I said before, I'm bullish. People get mad at me because I'm bullish. When I flip bearish and I start telling people it's time to sell, the market stopped, just as many people are going to hate me and get mad at me for telling them that it's not going higher. You watch, right? They hate you when you're bullish. They hate you when you're bearish. So absolutely, brother. Thank you, as always, Big Kev. Thank you, my friend. Oh, that's the only super chat to start the stream. What do we got here? Angelo says, I'm here and waiting and driving home from work. Update on this market. Let's go. Quentin, what's up, buddy? H. Barbarina in the house. What do we have, guys? We have 105 people watching. We have... How many likes do we have? 14, guys. Come on. That's like a kick in the old Frankenbeans. Holy smokes. Let's get the likes up, for crying out loud. Danny, what's up, buddy? Are we playing WoW again? We will, brother. We will. Things have been kind of tight for me lately for time. So, yeah, but we will. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe on the way in. Amir did, my guy. No money, honey. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with sitting on your hands, man. Jake the Snake says, feel the burn today for the pump tomorrow. Exactly. Rise, what's up, man? Rolled some of the miner stocks I sold last week into crypto. Lock in, people. There you go, man. That's what I like to hear. Jack stacked and fanny packed. When private chef, when home gym. Exactly. Isaac, my dude, first Pokemon of the night. What's going on, buddy? John, blessings, my friend. Super fantastic. Easy says, one thing I learned, to be much more patient with my DCAing. Absolutely. Dave, what's up, man? Let's go, homie. Let's get it. Carlos says, when alt season 2077. Yes. Let's LFG JTS. Papa is here. Let's get it. All right, we're already caught up in the chat. What do we have? 112 people watching now. What do we get up to with the likes? 17, guys. Come on. Seriously, come on. Hit the like button. It's free. It's literally free. Danny, I stopped listening to Jerry Banfield a long time ago. There you go. All right, let's get into the news just a little bit. We got some funny stuff to cover tonight. I wanted to get into this for Moonwell before I forgot about it. Check this out, guys. Moonwell has spent almost 4 years building with a long-term focus.
Time in the market is better than timing the market, right? Stablecoins just became legal on July 18th. And we're now no longer in the crypto economy. We're now in the economy. And we're talking to banks, and institutions want to bring their money to Coinbase. And that's why we're growing and we're building. We've actually created the first credit facility that allows Lunar Labs, my company, was the founding contributor to Moonwell, to borrow against well that we already have on the balance sheet. And that's really exciting to me, because now we're able to borrow about $4.1 million already just to start establishing office space and, hire and grow. And the signals to everyone in the community, all of you fine people out there on this call, that we're locked and we're we're borrowing against it. We're not going to sell it. We're long term, and so we've been building Moonwell for almost 4 years, and we're going to keep building it for 4 more years and hopefully 40 more years. Time and
there you go. Yes, long-term mindset for Moonwell, guys. That's what you like to hear. Here we go. Like I said, guys, Trump, he crashes the market talking about tariffs on China, and then I told you guys he'd be right back trying to pump the markets afterwards. Listen up.
I became a fan of crypto, and to me it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president, and we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago. It's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces, and I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar.
Let's go, baby. Takes a lot of pressure off the dollar. Talking positively about crypto. Jake the Snake says, LFG, rise up. Absolutely. Yes, we are mega bullish on peak still. Absolutely. The like button does not work. Try to like the videos, but not happening. Wonder why that is. Funky says, Alluvium Zero is a game I'd like to learn to play with the community. That's a good idea, Funky. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll start to play Alluvium or something over on the gaming channel as a community or something. That would be pretty cool. That's a good idea, brother. That's a good idea, man. Michael Saylor also being bullish, reminding you Bitcoin volatility is a gift, not a curse.
Volatility was a gift to the faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy.
Yep.
It scares away the people that are already conventionally rich, that have all the money. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to spend 100 hours or 200 hours, if you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you. If you have more money than time, and you're arrogant and egotistical and you just pick the obvious, then if the volatility goes away, you buy Bitcoin. If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel and how your viewers would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes away and people start to agree with you.
I want you to listen to the first part of what he said again, because that is a direct message to everyone who is whining, pissing, moaning, and complaining about the downward pressure and the red and how long it's taking and stuff. This is directed directly at you. Listen up.
Faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy.
Scares away the tourists. Scares away the lazy. People that don't want to do their research. They just want to throw money into crypto, walk away, and come back and be a millionaire. Lazy, not going to work, right? So stop your whining, stop your complaining, start doing your research, and learn to grow some patience. What else do we have? Grow some patience. Can you grow patience? Develop patience. There we go. So Donald Trump today, CZ wasn't guilty, but listen to what he says to the I don't know whomever he's talking. This is hilarious.
People say that, are you talking about the crypto person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything, that what he did, well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing, you fake news.
You can tell he wanted to say something else. You fake news.
But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him. But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support. And they said that what he did is not even a crime. It wasn't a crime. That he was persecuted by the Biden administration. And so I gave him a pardon at the request of a lot of very good people.
You fake news. There she is. Gamma Goddess just window shopping, but hey, I'm pretty rich. There you go. Kevin, stay bullish, my friends. This space needs Rob's positive vibes, and people need to hear it. All the ups and downs will pay off. Hold steady, people. There you go. Take your fiat and feed the BTC fire. Let's go. Beebs, what's up, buddy? William, good to see you, man. Everybody is here. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Let's have a look at some of the articles we have to get through today. Ethereum shorts face 2.25 billion in liquidation risks if Ethereum's price pushes above $4,000. Ethereum's price briefly managed to push above $4,000 earlier this week, but that effort was short-lived, paving the way for capitulation. Closer investigation into the cryptocurrency demand dynamics revealed weak whale activity, but that might be changing. Paul, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Ethereum's price demonstrated weak demand ever since the crash in the first half of the month. Weak whale activity has historically been characterized by short-lived rally attempts. This was the case with the Ethereum price this past weekend, after what seemed to be another rally attempt. However, the market demonstrated low demand from the whale cohort, and Ethereum's price consequently dipped below 3,800. The price suppression might be fatting up Ethereum shorts for slaughter. Liquidation data on CoinGlass revealed that there was roughly $2.51 billion worth of accumulated short liquidation leverage at risk if Ethereum pushes above $4,000. For context, Ethereum's price traded at $3,787 at press time and had a cumulative long liquidation leverage of just over $1 billion at 3,700. This meant that there were more downside expectations at risk of liquidation than long positions. Whales were on the sidelines for the last week or so since mid-October. This explained why rally attempts were short-lived, followed by pullbacks. That appeared to be changing in the last 24 hours, with the whale demand making a robust comeback. Ethereum large order books data revealed that whales executed over $8 billion worth of net long positions in the derivatives segment in the last 24 hours. This was across OKX and Binance futures, which happened to be two top exchanges with the highest futures volume. Whales also executed spot buys worth $89 million across Binance, OKX, and Coinbase. Despite whales buying, the market still demonstrated overall outflows. For example, Ethereum crypto had $266 million worth of net spot outflows in the last 24 hours, which was much more than the spot liquidity injection from whales. Moreover, the bearish market conditions reflect the bearish sentiment in the market. The fear and greed sentiment was still in extreme fear territory, which may explain the sell pressure. However, whale order books painted a different picture, signaling that a tide of buying pressure might be building up. This was also supported by another noteworthy observation, offering more clarity over smart money activity. While rising bullish expectations may flash bull signals, a bullish outcome will require support from the institutional cohort. The Ethereum ETF registered $444.8 million in net outflows after mostly experiencing outflows in the first half of the week, except for Tuesday, during which they registered $141.7 million worth of inflows. The weak inflows compared to outflows in the first half of the week highlighted weak confidence in the upside among Ethereum ETFs. An alignment consisting of demand for both whales and institutions may highlight the return of strong demand. Whales buying back at recent discounted prices may not necessarily guarantee a pivot, but it could signal that one might be close. Moreover, the Ethereum price action pullbacks since late August formed a bull flag on the chart, as you can see. The bull flag may also signal that the bullish outcome ahead. However, such an outcome requires sell pressure to cool down or strong demand wave to make an aggressive comeback. So basically, quit selling your Ethereum is what they're saying. Not financial advice. You do you, boo-boo. All right, what else? Beebs, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't CZ plead guilty? Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, yeah. How do you plead guilty and then get a pardon for being a political, victim? I don't know, whatever. Anyway, continuing on the interview this morning on Squawk Box about the lockout, or not lockout, the government shutdown. Sorry.
We had Senator Shaheen on earlier this week, and she was, I don't know, on someone's wish list as maybe a Democrat that could be swayed to join with the other 3 to get the additional 5 because she's not running for re-election. But she gave us no inkling that was in the works. Are there other discussions that you can tell us about that you've heard of going on? Is that the way this ends, that people break with Leader Schumer, or is it going to be done with Leader Schumer?
I am afraid that you're going to have a few more break ranks, and that's my prayer that they will. There are a handful of centrist Democrats left. I mean, she's one of them, who are reasonable and common sense and have voted every time in their career to keep the government open. As recently, as I said, earlier this year, 13 times during the 4 years of the Biden administration, they voted on CRs, and every one of those people gave speeches on the floor and in media interviews saying how important that was to do. I do not have any hope right now that Chuck Schumer is going to do the right thing. I think it's too late. I think he's lost in that cause because he knows that if he folds to the Marxist left, remember, Marxism is all the rage in New York City right now. You're watching the mayor's race, right? He knows he's going to get a challenge from AOC or one of the other Mamdani disciples in his race, and he will lose. He's not very popular right now, obviously, because of the way he does all this. So he knows that if he folds right now, he's going to take it on the chin. So our objective right now is to plead with some common sense Democrats who care about the country more than themselves and do the right thing, pass the nonpartisan CR so we can get the lights back on, get Congress working for the people again, and sort through all the rest of these complicated issues for the rest of the year.
Okay, so we get that done eventually. Hope springs eternal. We get some kind of deal for a 1-year, I don't know, extension on the subsidies. How do we prevent that from being the 10-year, $350 billion boondoggle that it's going to happen if we don't fix what the underlying cause of the healthcare inflation? What do we need to do? What are Republicans?
Such an important point. We have volumes of ideas that we literally have published to bring down the cost of healthcare and stop the madness. We have to build consensus around those to get it done. But I'll give you a quick example. In the big, beautiful bill, in the Working Families Tax Cut that we passed and got signed into law July 4th, we included in the House version of that bill the cost sharing reductions model. It would have brought premiums down 12% for the average American, and it would have saved taxpayers $30 billion. You know what they did, the Senate Democrats? They took that provision out of the bill. They fought it. They got it batted down in the Byrd Rule analysis, and they kicked it out of the bill. And you know what that did instead? So now they want to extend the Obamacare subsidies. Remember, the cost sharing reduction, just that one measure would have brought premiums down 12%. The Obamacare subsidy extension is going to increase premiums. In some categories, it would drop at about 5%, 5.7% is actual number, but it's going to cost us more because doing that will cost, as you said, $350 billion over 10 years. We have to change the system. We have to find ways in a bipartisan manner to make Obamacare affordable for more people, to increase access to care, and to stop the practices of the insurance industry right now, which are denying about 30% of claims automatically or more in some categories, and the prices continuing to skyrocket. When the government dumps more money on a bad system, it makes it worse. And that is the reality. We have to make everybody face that, and then we got to build the consensus around the solutions. We have lots of ideas. The Republican Party is the party ready to fix that, and we're demonstrating that every day. We brought down costs in Medicaid, and we strengthened the program in the big, beautiful bill because we got ineligible enrollees off the program, and we brought down the cost. It's going to save, the CBO says, the measures that we did in that bill on Medicaid, for example, are going to save $185 billion. So they're good ideas, Joe. We just need time to work through the consensus to do it. But we got to get the lights back on here. Again, we got to open the government so that all of that can happen.
Speaker Johnson, Ro Khanna did agree with some of the things you just said. The idea that he thinks part of the problem comes from a private industry that is not paying for, premiums going up and not paying for a lot of the for the procedures that people request or that doctors request too. He mentioned that. He also said he agrees that the Republican Party has good ideas. He came up with the idea of President Trump's executive order on Big Pharma, said that he had put legislation before the House that he would like to see a vote on that would codify that executive order that the pharmaceutical companies seem to think will get struck down by the courts. Are you in favor of doing something like that?
Well, look, I'll say this about Ro. He's a good man. He's a very intelligent guy, and he's always operated in good faith around here, and I appreciate that about him. And Ro and I and others can sit around the table and, like I said, in a bipartisan manner and work through some of these things. And they're good ideas on the table, but we got to have everybody here doing that. And we're not going to allow Chuck Schumer to hold the American people hostage so they can get $1.5 trillion new dollars in spending. Remember, don't get lost in that. That's what they filed in the record. That's what they are demanding in exchange for opening the government, and they know we can't do that. So it's time to come to their senses and stop the nonsense. Stop using the people as leverage, as Democrat Whip Clark acknowledged yesterday.
All right, we know you got to run, Mr. Speaker. Once again, thanks for all your time this morning.
Government shutdown's got to study and realize it was muted there. Government shutdown's got to come to an end regardless. Franken Beans liked for you. There you go. Yes, Scott Box. Where is Andy anyway? Where is Andy? USDT activity on Ethereum hits all-time highs. Transfer volume surges 400%. Tether's USDT has reached a historic milestone on the Ethereum network, with transfer volume up roughly 400% since 2023's lows, according to data from Token Terminal. The spike marks a resurgence of on-chain activity that reinforces Ethereum's dominance as the leading platform for stablecoin transactions. Ray, what's going on, buddy? In September alone, USDT transfer volume on Ethereum climbed to an estimated $580.9 billion, while the monthly transfer count hit 12.5 million, both all-time highs. Analysts view this increase as a signal of renewed institutional and retail demand for stablecoin liquidity, particularly in decentralized finance, or DeFi, and tokenized asset markets. The resurgence in USDT usage comes amid a broader trend of capital rotation back into Ethereum-based assets, after a period where alternative blockchains such as Tron captured the majority of stablecoin activity. Ethereum has regained momentum thanks to its deeper liquidity pools and growing integration with Layer 2 scaling solutions like Arbitrum and Base. And if you want to know more about Base, I did a deep dive video yesterday into Base, giving you all of the details about what Base does, what it's going to do, and how it is a good thing. According to Token Terminal's report, the surge in USDT volume has coincided with increased usage of DeFi lending, perpetual trading, and tokenized treasury markets, where USDT is widely used as collateral. Analysts also point to the recent inflows of institutional-grade projects exploring tokenized real-world assets as a catalyst for renewed stablecoin activity on Ethereum. While Bitcoin and Ether prices remain range-bound, The explosion in stablecoin transfers indicates that capital is once again moving actively across the crypto ecosystem as DeFi protocols, AI-linked assets, and tokenized products continue to expand. Ethereum's growing stablecoin traffic could signal a broader market revival ahead of the next liquidity cycle. In short, Ethereum's on-chain metrics show that the so-called quiet market phase might be anything but. And USDT's record-breaking activity is the clearest sign yet of crypto deepening financial infrastructure. Spencer says Andy got scared and sold everything and to put back in CDs. I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't have it. He's a stubborn Scotsman. What do you expect? All right, what else do we have? Let's keep pushing forward here. Despite the government shutdown, crypto market structure bill, 90% there, says Coinbase CEO. Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong says he's optimistic that U.S. senators are moving closer to advancing key cryptocurrency market structure legislation by Thanksgiving, suggesting that there's now far more agreement on both sides of the aisle than there are differences. Even though the government is shut down, the Senate is working hard on getting market structure legislation passed for crypto, Armstrong said in a video posted on X. According to Armstrong, roughly 90% of the legislative framework has already been agreed upon, with the remaining 10% focused on issues like decentralized finance. He added that policymakers are looking for ways to protect innovation while ensuring that, quote, centralized intermediaries like Coinbase should be regulated, not the protocols. Armstrong also underscored the importance of preserving stablecoin rewards in the wake of the Genius Act passed earlier this year, which set federal standards for stablecoin reserves, transparency, and consumer protections. The big banks are coming for their cash grab, trying to block that, he said. We're not going to let them relitigate that. Yes, so the big banks essentially are saying, don't let Coinbase and other protocols give good yield for people who are staking, essentially, right? They don't want their customers to get a good yield, a good percentage on their stable coins. The banks don't, right? They want to keep the the gravy train running for them, where they give you 0.001% interest on your money. Armstrong's criticism of the banking industry comes as many lobbyists oppose the Genius Stablecoin Act, particularly over what they view as a loophole allowing interest payments. Again, I've said this before, guys. You notice how the banks are complaining and they want a readjustment of the Genius Act. They're not saying, hey, let us as banks give the same percentage as these protocols for yield. No. They're not saying that. They're saying make them give less yield so that we don't have to increase the amount of interest we're paying to people on their money. If they were truly arguing for fairness and equality with these exchanges like Coinbase, then they would say, hey, let us give the same interest rate. Let us give 5%, right? No. They want to give 0.01%. They just don't want someone else. So what does that say about the bank's view of their own customers when instead of arguing to allow them to give better yield, they're arguing to stop other entities from giving better yield? That tells you everything you need to know about the intentions of the traditional finance industry. By excluding crypto exchanges like Coinbase, the requirements in the Genius Act can be easily evaded and undermined by allowing payments on interest indirectly to holders of stablecoin, and the BPI said. So I say, screw them. Screw them. All right, we got one more clip to get into here, guys. We got to start getting ready for the Patreon live stream. Spencer says Mt. Gox payout coming October 30th and 31st could see a nice liquidity injection into the markets with that stablecoin payments. Ro Khan, the 30 to 40 billion given to Argentina could fund the ACA, so more of the government shutdown.
It's day 23 of the government shutdown. It's the second longest in U.S. history. And joining us right now for the latest is Congressman Ro Khan of California, whose district is in the heart of Silicon Valley. Ro, thank you for coming in.
All right, turn into the on-camera Ro Khan now. Because we just had a long conversation off camera. We agreed on what we probably should do, which is the way we always do it.
Well, what we should do, first of all, we may not agree on this point, but why can't we get an exception to the filibuster to keep government
I told
open?
you why.
Why?
Because if you do it now with Republicans and the Democrats have the chance next time they're able to do it, they'll do it for the worst thing in the world. I would never set that precedent.
I'm saying just to keep government open. I mean,
why can't you just vote for it? Why can't you get a couple of normal senators just to vote for it?
Why don't we get to the point where nobody can shut down the government? Because I think
Yeah,
shutting down the
Ron
government has been a
Johnson.
pretty terrible situation,
I agree with
no matter
that.
who's used it over.
And Johnson had a proposal of automatic funding, which I think it makes sense. But, you know, you're going to have the speaker on later. We came into Congress together. Just tell them to open up Congress. At least we can vote on paying the troops. At least we can vote to keep paying essential employees, people
You
on
would
aircraft.
show up and vote for those things?
I would. I'd vote in a bipartisan way for both paying the troops, paying essential federal
You're
workers.
only one guy. You think?
No, I think you'd get bipartisan support for paying folks. And
You'd look like a jerk. Anybody who didn't vote for that would look like an absolute
And
jerk.
look, the speaker's a person of faith. We came into Congress together. Just tell him to open it up for that. At least we'd get that funding passed.
I started.
Why do you think he hasn't done that?
Well, he's going to disagree with this, but my view is on the Epstein files. I mean, he hasn't sworn in Adelita Grijalva. He doesn't want to vote on Nancy and
That'd be
Mike.
the vote that would release the Epstein files.
The files.
When you walked in, I said, for shame. No one knows Gomer Powell. I said, for shame, for shame, for shame, Sergeant, for shutting down the government. But then we also agreed that these health care costs and these premiums are so out of control because of Obamacare. I'm not saying we should have Medicare for all. I'm not saying single payer.
You're getting there, though.
If you make 80 grand,
You can make news here, Joe.
where was that 80 grand?
I think it was in Oregon.
20 grand, the premiums are going up.
That's crazy.
not
not
because of
sustainable.
the expiration of the pandemic era subsidies. That's just because this behemoth costs too much, and it's the unaffordable CARE Act. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe health savings accounts or
Look,
something.
and it's a
but you
debt-
shouldn't be shutting the government.
But
you
it's-
should not be. You know that.
We can at least get people paid if you can get a
Okay,
deal with
but I'm
Speaker
talking
Johnson.
about-
But look, the productivity hasn't gone up in the healthcare sector, right? Like
Nope.
there are other places, manufacturing, technology, where we're actually bringing down costs in industry. And one of the reasons is there's a dead weight cost on these private insurance companies. They made $171 billion of profits. If we had Medicare for all, if we extended that, it would help private business. It would lower health care
But if you
costs.
opened up, states to have competition, there's a way to do it with the private sector and not go to what everyone else has gone to, which also doesn't really
Right.
provide the
don't
care
look at
you
better-
want and the
you don't look at better results.
outcomes.
Look,
better.
you still have private doctors, you still have private hospitals, private nurses. You're just saying that what people have on Medicare from 65, you extend it to
But
folks.
that gets to the point where you're basically rationing health care and saying we will only pay so much for certain things, and that's what we've gotten to with Medicare.
Well, I don't think Medicare is
Negotiating with
rationing
the government?
more than the private industry. I mean, you are on private insurance. That's where you get rationed. You have to get your pre-authorization. You get things denied. Medicare actually doesn't do that.
Ro, will you
compared to
break with the
private
party
insurance.
and say this is wrong, that you're really holding the government hostage to getting what they want? And it wasn't just the $340 billion that they want for the subsidies. They got a bunch of other stuff that they want that raises it to $1.5 trillion. will you say that this shouldn't, neither party should be shutting the government to blackmail and hold the other party hostage?
I agree. It's not that both parties.
Don't
need to
give me
come
that
together.
both. Only one is shutting it down.
No, that's
now.
not true. You know that. Come on, you guys.
Since when do you try to do an appropriations at the same time that you just
He
have a
hates the
CR
shutdown,
to keep the government? You don't do appropriations
No,
at that point.
but you have a situation where
It's a clean
first of all, the
CR.
Republicans have the votes in the Senate and the House. They could do this on an exception. They've confirmed Trump's appointees.
Well, you just
They've
want
confirmed
you
Trump's
want no,
judges.
yeah, you want no
that's
filibuster.
But secondly,
That's a Trojan
here
horse
they're
for
giving-
Democrats.
And this is not a political point. They're giving $31 billion or $30 to $40 billion to the guy in Argentina. $30 to $40 billion would fund the extension of the affordable tax credits for 1 year for all Americans.
You saw.
So why not?
Well, you
giving
saw
it to a
Lawler
corrupt
offer
guy.
that to Hakeem Jeffries, to Leader Jeffries.
And you know who's not on Lawler's bill? Speaker Johnson. See if you can get Speaker Johnson to agree to Lawler's
so
bill.
neither one of them are on it.
He can't convince
What
his own
would it do
leadership.
if we decided to do it for an extra year, or to kick the can down the road? But you think you could get?
I don't even know that it would matter if we're talking about these premiums that are going up by that much.
But look, you told me, I didn't even know that $20,000 increase of premiums for a.
This is I saw it. I mean, I haven't confirmed it, but it was on something I saw in where was it? Vermont, 130. Someone making 130,000. It's like $32,000.
It's crazy. You know who's making
but
most
it's not
sense on your
because
side of the aisle?
Yeah, but it's not.
Is
That
Marjorie
doesn't
Taylor
mean it's
Greene.
right that we just extend it. That's just that's not putting a Band-Aid on it. That's like opening up the
What are
wound.
the actual fixes that would lower healthcare costs short of going straight to Medicaid or Medicare for all? I mean,
One is going after Medicare Advantage, right?
Okay.
I mean, this is actual fraud where Medicare Advantage is having people sicker than they are, and our taxpayer dollars are paying for it. Both
I mean,
parties
finding things that they're like,
Finding things, you know?
let's test for this. Oh, it turns out you didn't even know you had it, and then that's
Second,
the
one of
wrap.
the things I've supported with President Trump, I think we should have a vote on it, is his executive order going after Big Pharma. Why are Americans paying 2 to 3 times more than countries, people in other parts of the world?
in developed parts of the world too.
In developed parts of the world, in Germany, in
Right.
Japan. So let's put his executive order for a vote in Congress. You take on Medicare Advantage, you take on Big Pharma, and then the facility fees. Why is it that you go for an MRI at a doctor's office, then you go to the same MRI at a hospital, and it's about 300%
$1,000
more?
difference. Yeah, it's the transparency issues. You should be able to shop around for healthcare the same way you can shop for anything else, and that we still have not gotten to that. And by the way, those were things President Obama was talking about before the Affordable Care Act. I don't understand why we haven't gotten to better transparency issues on that.
One of the people who's making sense, I think, on your side, Joe, is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's saying, look.
Oh my God.
She's saying, look, grocery prices.
Did you
are
ever
high.
think you'd say those words in a sentence?
I can't believe I've seen her on Tucker.
Are you
I've
ready
seen
to
her all
endorse
over.
Mamdani?
I've endorsed Mamdani. We can get into
You already
that.
did. Oh, that's great, bro. That's
Point on Marjorie
I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist. I like Silicon Valley.
I'm a pro-growth. I'm a pro-growth progressive. Pro-growth progressive.
That's an oxymoron.
No, it's not.
Yes,
Joe.
it is. Yes, it is.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she said, look, food prices are too high. Grocery prices are high. Rent is high. Insurance is high. It's all
Everybody agrees with that. It's
right.
how you can bring those prices
So
down.
here's
that is the
here's
question.
what my push is. Look, I'm for Medicare for all. I'm not sure she is. But why can't we get bipartisan legislation to lower the costs of health care?
Because nobody can agree on how you lower the cost.
Can't even
of
open the
healthcare.
government.
I don't even think it's. I think it's the pharmaceutical influence, the insurance
The
influence.
pharmaceuticals will tell you it's the pharmacy benefits managers. The pharmacy benefits managers will tell you it's the hospitals that are now being taken over by for-profit companies. I mean, everybody points to somebody else, and the finger pointing gets really complicated. It's such a complex system. You have some of the best brains who have tried to tackle this for decades at this point and have not been able to make this happen.
Fair enough,
So
but why
how
not?
do we do this and get the government open and stop hurting people who are suffering as a result of the government being closed?
Well, two things. First, why don't we start with what Donald Trump has proposed? He has an executive order to lower pharma prices.
Right.
I introduced
He's
his
working with
exact
Big Pharma to do
executive
that.
order.
Pfizer just do that.
I introduced his exact executive order in Congress. We can't get a vote on it. And the pharma knows that the executive order won't have
You
the
introduced
exact.
this since the shutdown?
No, I introduced it before the shutdown, but let's get a vote on Trump's executive order. But you know why we don't? Because of Big Pharma's influence, and Big Pharma knows the executive order won't hold in court. The second point is, yes, we need fundamental reform on health care. But right now, to Joe's point, people's premium is going to go up $20,000, $30,000. Why not just get some relief so that premium doesn't go up starting November 1st?
But the government can't. I mean, the government is the people. Taxpayer dollars going to fund all of these things. You got to find a way to get at the root cause.
Yeah, but we're giving money to the guy in Argentina.
Simple. Stop paying government officials while they're not working. Watch how fast they get back to the table and start working again, right? SPL says crash is not over. Maybe. Oh, House says, thank you, Rob, for helping earlier. Dusting is a real thing. Just letting new people know. Patreon is worth it. Yes, absolutely, guys. Get over there. Speaking of Patreon, I got to go get ready for the Patreon live stream tonight, live with Rule and Max. We will be there, guys, in about a half hour, 40 minutes. So I will see you guys there. If you want to join, the link is in the description, or you can use the QR code at the top of the screen. Book your one-on-one coaching calls, join our group coaching calls, get in our daily trades, and so much more. Again, the link is down below, or use the QR code. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.